Guys, this was a different sort of game. It's unusual to take a 12-point lead in the half when you only scored 26 points, but your defense obviously keyed a lot. Was that sort of an emphasis when the shots weren't falling to just stay on them tight and make sure that they had to earn every bucket?
Yeah, I think that was a point of emphasis for us going into it, was just to be super locked in defensively, and I think that's what we did. We had a really good defensive first half, like you said, held them to very few points, and then we got their rebounds too. So, just defense and rebounding was a big emphasis for us.
Like Jim said, a little bit of a slow offensive first half there, but it kicked it in the second half. 65% shooting in the second half. I believe it was 10 assists after only 3 in the first half. What was the message at halftime to kind of kick you guys into gear?
Just really sticking to our principles. You know, we was running the right offense. It was just shots weren't falling, so we just stayed with that, and then shots eventually fell.
For both of you guys, are you eager for ACC play? Are you ready for ACC?
Ready and eager.
Yeah.
We're excited. We're excited. We feel like we're ready for it. We're ready for the challenge. Yeah, we're eager and ready.
What do you think you guys do best?
In general, I say score, but I feel like our defense is really up there too, and having both of those is real good. So
These last 2 games have been more or less complete games. Morgan State on Friday, Columbia today, after a 2-week lull in there, I'll say, with Dominican stuff. What's been different the last 2 games versus, the 2 weeks before, where the games were really tightly contested all the way down the stretch?
I think just closing out non-conference the right way, and like I said, putting an emphasis on defense and rebounding, and just coming together and, like Dai Dai said, sticking to our principles. And I think the last 2 games were a little bit more complete, like you said, and things started to fall into place.
Any questions for these guys? Oh, go ahead, Jake.
How are you guys better now than you were 3 or 4 weeks ago?
I say more connected. The more we play with each other, the more we practice, the more reps we get with each other, I feel like we get closer every time. So that's a big part of it.
Are you excited to see what the reception will be from the students as we come back from winter?
Absolutely. Expecting a big turnout from the students. Mm-hmm. We know they got our back, so we're excited to have some students in the building. We know they'll get loud for us and give us some extra energy, so we're super excited for that.
Appreciate y'all.
Guys, thanks for being here this afternoon on a Sunday. First of all, big shout out to the Cal community. The fan support, the attendance tonight was phenomenal. Student section, almost full. The community was out, kids, families, everybody. That was just an awesome thing to see, and so thank you. Dai Dai Ames was just up here after we had a tough loss at Kansas State. Dai Dai came to me a few days after that at some point, and he said, hey, we still have a great opportunity to go against a Big Ten team and to go against a Big 12 team, UCLA and Utah. And Dai Dai is someone who has such tremendous confidence. He's such a great leader on this team in the locker room. He's been a huge part of what we've done. Every player on the team has. But I just kind of wanted to share that conversation publicly and the focus of a guy like Dai Dai. Columbia, give them a lot of credit, very well coached, extremely well coached, very physical on the glass, good 3-point shooting. They played a good game. They played a really good game. We knew this was going to be a battle. Open to questions.
Talk about your defensive approach against Columbia tonight. You really locked them down in the first half on aggressive on the ball defense there. Gave them nothing to look at. What was the focus for you tonight coming into this game? Yeah, I mean, our focus really as a theme this year is we want to make people uncomfortable. We want to make people uncomfortable in the post. We want to make handlers uncomfortable. And I thought our guys did a good job at the start, especially. We got deflections throughout the game. Our guys have really active hands. Pippen, Justin and Dai Dai really were out there extremely aggressive on the ball throughout the game. That was good to see.
Mark, do you recall many games where you only scored 28 points in a half and still had a double-digit lead against a solid team?
Well, to be honest with you, Jim, that's the type of transformation that we've been trying to make. We wanted to take a big step defensively from last year to this year. And there's progress. There's so much room for improvement. We have so many things to correct. You saw some miscommunications in the second half. In transition, that's absolutely inexcusable, and I take responsibility for that. We got to clean that up. There's other things we have to clean up. And so there's growth, but we have a lot more work to do.
In the UCLA and Utah games, you guys were rolling pretty impressively at that point, but there was a little bit of lull in the performance for a while. These last 2 games, you guys are kind of approaching peak performance with a little bit of exceptions here and there in the 4 halves that you've played. What's coming together for the team right now?
Well, our players, they're realizing every day that passes to compete at the highest level, you can never take your foot off the gas pedal. You can never relax. You can never say, I've made it. You just can't. The players are too good that we play against. The coaches that we play against, the staffs that we go against, they're all just too good. And so you have to have a sense of urgency at every time you're in the game. If you're in a boxing match and if you let your guard down, you're going to get hit in the face and you're going to get knocked out. And our guys have really just embraced just being on every minute they're on the court, and even when they come out of the game. That's been good to see.
Do you feel like you're ready for ACC play?
We have so many things to work on, Jake. We have so much to clean up, even from this game tonight. I was disappointed with our communication efforts in transition in the second half because there were 2 occasions, and we haven't had breakdowns like this recently where nobody picked up a man. And then everyone's screaming that there's a wide open player. And so I'm not satisfied. I'm not at all. And we have Louisville coming in. I believe they're top 10. And so we have our work cut out for us. And so there's some good things happening in the process, and there's some cleanup areas.
Have you looked at Louisville at all?
Yes. They are very proficient from 3. They shoot a high volume of 3s. And they say this publicly that they have a long menu of sets, but then they also play random. The NBA is going more and more random. You've heard a lot of NBA head coaches say they don't want to call a single play in the game until maybe the last 2 minutes. And so I think we're all trying to do that a little bit more, play more random, harder to scout. And so Louisville, they have a good mix of both of those, to be honest with you.
Talk a little bit about Milos Ilic and his role in this offense. He only played 14 minutes, but really impressive. Six boards, 3 assists. It flows a little differently when he's in versus Dort. Can you kind of talk about what your expectations are for Ilic coming down the stretch here?
Look, I can't say enough about Milos Ilic. He had a tough injury over the summer, and so he missed probably 8 to 12 weeks. I can't 8 to 12, 6 to 8, somewhere around there. He missed almost all the summer, the latter part of the summer, and early he wasn't quite himself. And so he's finding his rhythm. Milos is a great player, but it's hard to go through a medical situation and come back and be expected to be in rhythm right away. And he's getting more and more into rhythm every single day.
Yes. You guys had 6 turnovers total today. I was just wondering what you saw in decision-making and spacing that allowed the offense to be so flexible.
Look, we work on taking care of the ball. We talk about it, but we have players that really care about that. Justin Pippen is unbelievable at taking care of the basketball. TT Carr, same thing. Dai Dai. It's very difficult to take the ball away from Dai Dai. And that's our guards. And now our wings and our bigs are pretty good at ball control. Chris Bell has always taken good care of the ball. And he's done a nice job recently of just coming to that 2-foot jump stop, being a decision maker, things of that nature.
And you spoke to the student section today. I was just wondering how excited you are to see the students come back from winter break and see what happens from then forth.
The students here at Cal, it's a privilege to be amongst them. We walk out to Telegraph Avenue to get lunch sometimes, and these students are passionate about whatever it is that they're working on, whether it's academics, whether it's sports, but they give us encouragement. And when they show up like they did tonight in that student section, it's very difficult for the other team to deal with our student section. Our student section tonight was 10 out of 10. And it's only going to get better going into conference play. So thank you, all the Cal students. Appreciate you guys.
One last question? All right, thanks everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.